Hello and welcome to my Raw Nationals 2024 recap. Traveling into Salt Lake City was a lot easier coming from California. The flight in was breathtaking. They do have very entertaining billboards here. Hotel gym tour. Microwave requested from front desk. Grandchard eating homemade food with his hiking boots on. 3 beds. 2 beds and a couch. Really low bathtub. It's lower than the toilet. This one seems especially low. And then there is the view of, whoops, that's not it, downtown. When we landed, it was lightning and rain, and then it cleared up after that. We quickly gathered our things and went to get my last session in. The mountains are really pretty. I found an old 3DMJ roller on the ground, which I thought was really cool. Haven't seen one in the wild. We went to Big Mountain Barbell, and this gym is amazing. I didn't really get to use too much of it. I just did my last warm-ups, and you could see from my squat video that things were kind of off. I really felt like I couldn't find depth, and this was kind of new. I think I maybe dropped more weight in the last couple days leading up to this than I anticipated, because I'm used to using the cues of my upper and lower legs touching to know when to come back up. And with squats, I just felt like I was going down and I couldn't figure out the position to stop and come back up. I don't know how to cut depth, apparently. So part of powerlifting is lifting the most amount of weight you can with the rules that are in place. And so going deeper than you need to doesn't really score you any extra points. Bench and deadlift still felt okay, but I knew with my squats that I was going to be in a little bit of trouble, and this was my last chance to really practice the lifts before the meet, so I was kind of like, oh dear, I don't know how it's going to go. We got to meet one of our friends that moved to Salt Lake City not too long ago, so that was pretty cool. I got to watch them eat some fried chicken while I drank a protein shake and ate more pretzels. It's meet day. It's my first national level non-AM meet, so the other people in my weight class are weighing in and putting their attempts in right now, their first attempts, and I just stepped on the scale. I'm exactly 123.0 pounds. Sleep was a solid 6 hours, so not too bad. Feeling pretty rested, honestly, but I have 6 hours to go until weigh-ins, so I'm exactly at weight right now, I think. My scale is a little bit heavy. I tested it yesterday on the meat scale, so I'm going to maybe have a sip of coffee just to not get caffeine withdrawal, and then probably just try to take a small nap. I think I can still have a sip and take a small nap, but not too hungry, but also haven't really been doing much for the last few days activity wise, so just gonna try to chill. Physique wise, I have abs. My thighs still seem to hold a good amount of thickness, I guess, like just relaxed. They're pretty thick. I'm not gonna flex them because I'm trying not to use any muscles right now. I don't know if it's like I just feel kind of depleted. So at this point for meet day, the priority is getting carbs in. So I'm going to be having pretzels, and at this point I think I might just eat them while standing on the scale, just so I can kind of have an idea for how much they weigh in me, because that's not going to get out of my system in 6 hours. So I'm actually more thirsty than hungry. I actually just want water, but I think I'm just gonna have a couple of pretzels just to not feel that hungry, have a little bit of blood sugar, and then I'm just gonna get back in bed. So I had my snack, and then it was kind of fluctuating between 123.2 and 123.4. It doesn't do the 0.5, 0.3, so just gonna chill now and weigh in again in a couple hours. Where are we going?
Where are we going?
Start now. Oh wait, no, but you're in the second flight, so.
They're making them work for those white lights here, Solana. It's not going to come easy today.
It's not, but this is a very high level meet, and you
That's
have
right.
to be able to make it very clear to the referees that you hit depth. And we have some tough referees here today, too.
That's right. Now, is that our personal friend Saber Schnitzer there
It
on the
is,
side?
I saw
Okay, yeah.
him.
Okay, that's our buddy. I knew he wasn't gonna let anybody kind of off easy here. He's as tough as they get. He actually trained me as a referee as well, so I understand lifting to that standard as well. Here comes Michellelin, opening up at 145 kilos squat opener. Okay, let's see the call here. All right, hey, 3 white lights.
Very nice. And there we go. That's what I want to see. Some 3 white light lifts,
very
okay?
lightly. Come on, yeah. Let's get them nice and clean here for these openers.
So the referees can sit wherever they choose, and one thing that's I've noticed over the years, they tend to sit more diagonal for the side refs versus like directly on the side. But I think that's because it's hard to see past the spotters, so they want the best view they can get. Michelle looked like a fast lift. 3 white lights.
Great job there by Michelle. Now, Solana, I am seeing quite a bit of heeled lifts here, as well as, interestingly enough, do you find that the heels start to change, or more lifters are start to be in flats as you kind of see the heavier athletes?
All right, Michellelin, 157.5 kilos. We're about halfway through our 3rd attempt of the second flight.
Flying through it here. Solana.
We are flying through. I mean, the spotters and loaders are doing a great job, moving quickly and efficiently.
Just like you said, that's the lifeblood of a meet. Okay, and that sticking point a little bit. Okay, great catch.
Beautiful save.
Great catch by our spotter in the back there. You're in the big show.
So they're added into primetime late, and they both have the biggest opening bench presses. And specifically, so Michelle's got a big 97.5 opener, but Rivka's opening at 105.
Mariah probably thought, hey, you know what? I got this. I'm going to be at the bottom of the flight. And then all of a sudden, Michelle and Rivka get added to the equation, and the water just got that much deeper.
And the record of this weight class is held by Caitlin Berry, 116.5 kilos. So
3
I'm
white
not sure
lights.
if it'll be tried for today. Opening at 105 is a possibility, but also that's bigger than 5 kilo jumps, which we know we don't always see in this weight class. We'll have to wait. This was a successful lift by Michellelin. But I mean, it's pretty crazy to end the flight.
Yeah.
And you barely made it into prime time. It's
But what, a lot of lifters are coached to do, which is kiss the bench press with just ever so slightly a little bit of, because you don't need your whole glute on it. You just need a part of it.
all right, Michellelin, 102.5 kilos. Again, these are some big lifts. You're going to see a lot of people in prime time tomorrow who are having around these numbers for the bench press.
Yeah.
And those are weight classes above.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very nice. All right, let's see it, Michelle. 105 kilos, 2.5 kilo jump.
$2.5 kilo jump here for Michelle. Late addition into this session, but bringing the smoke.
I don't think
tough.
So. All right.
Now, Solana, I saw there's always a little bit of reticence there, especially when you're going on that 3rd attempt, when you're like kind of like that reluctance right before you touch the chest. I don't know if we're going to get the replay there, but I saw a little bit of that kind of like hesitation slightly right before she touched the chest. So That can happen. Let's see that replay. You can get a little bit, and it's just that you
A little
want to
bit,
get that
yes.
soft touch.
Exactly. I was going to say it's hard with the really soft touch.
Yeah. It's like if you descend so fast, you're going to lose a little bit of that
You
kind of
lose it.
control, and then, you know, kind of screwed at that point. So. So michellelin approaching the bar. 172.5. Have to call it out again, Solana. Rivka and Michelle were late additions to this primetime session. Very
Beautiful
savvy
opener.
pull.
Yes. And I can't wait to see where they place. That's why I'm going to kind of wait until a second so I can like see a subtotal and like go from there.
Okay. Again, yeah, we still have Michelle, Andrea, and Mariah left to go in the flight. A little bit of that more hybrid stance there out of Michelle. See the call. 3 white lights for michellelin. Again, she has a little bit of that closer stance. You've seen out of the likes of like a Keenan Lee a little bit. So sometimes you can run into your quads a little bit when you do it, but
Michelle,
you're right.
You have Mariah and Andrea.
So Michelle coming in here, 187. That little hybrid sumo stance she's got.
Okay.
Come
so
on,
this is
get
gonna keep her in
stuck
fifth.
there. Come on.
I don't think so. All right.
Tough.
This definitely was not the meet that I wanted. I have never missed all my thirds. I did have fun getting to lift with the girls in my weight class, and it was really fun meeting some people that I haven't met before and seeing familiar faces. I do feel like lifting in the evening was a little bit hard. I think the altitude and dehydration may have also affected me, other than the being lighter than I had planned, but overall it was a good experience. And then the next day we left for Moab, which was the vacation part of the trip. No, I think he's just Superman. So to be completely honest, when I was exporting this video, I was gonna end it right there, but my computer ran out of memory, and then when I watched it back, I realized that there was no audio for the end. So I decided to add in these clips from Moab to kind of give me the chance to talk about how I felt about the meet. So going into the meet, I had probably my best training sessions, my best blocks that I've ever done in my life. I PR'd reps and everything up until the last couple of weeks. We had a goal weight that we wanted me to be at before flying to Utah, and I got there, and I wasn't eating in a crazy deficit, at least that's what I thought, compared to previous diets when I had to cut a bit more aggressively. But I think the last few pounds came off, and then my lifts felt kind of weird, and I didn't feel weaker right away, but now I kind of think if I had just continued with a maintenance diet for the last couple of weeks, I may have been in a better spot leading up to the meet. This trip to Moab right after the meet was perfect timing. The weather was gorgeous. We had a couple friends that flew in to go on this trip, but they also came to watch the meet, which was really cool because I think it was their first time watching a powerlifting meet. My mom flew in to go to the road trip to Moab. I had wanted to go back to Arches since my first time 3 years ago because I didn't really get to see very much. We were only there for really one afternoon, and this time we got to go back to Delicate Arch, and then we also got to go on so many hikes. I think we did almost all the hikes in the national park except for the one that you need a permit for. So it was beautiful, and I love rocks. I love climbing them and looking at them, and so this was like the perfect place to go visit. Going back to the meet, it was kind of a strange meet for me. I've never missed all my third attempts. and I feel like I went over 3 because I didn't hit any of the numbers that I wanted to hit. I also felt like the meet kind of dragged, like it went a lot more slowly than I anticipated. I had been training to rest like 7 minutes or so in between singles, but it kind of felt like with how big the flights were, and I don't think there was anything that went glaringly wrong with the live stream, but it just felt like by the time we were doing our next attempt, I was almost kind of cold already. It just felt really, really slow.
Oh yeah, the arch is broken.
It's a butt crack. And it was also in the evening, so I'm used to training in the evening, so that's not a big deal, but I felt really, really tired, like a lot more tired than I expected. There she goes. Hopefully she knows where she's going. Maybe, or she's just wandering. We went to Moab with the intention of visiting both Arches and Canyonlands because they're like half an hour away from each other. We spent more time in Arches. Canyonlands is beautiful, but I think the hikes are a lot more involved. So with Arches, you can finish a hike. With Canyonlands, it's more of a lookout point.
Your mom just dumped a bunch out of her shoe too.
From our first hike.
Look at this. Oh dear. My foot was hurting so much.
Well, you're like shoveling this, you're like landscaping with your toes.
Arches has restricted time entry, so we basically planned around our entry times, and then we went to Canyonlands in the evening to watch the sunset, and this was probably the best view of the whole trip. It was breathtaking, and I think the timing of getting there right at sunset was perfect. Launching.
Yeah, don't do that either.
Nipsel's launching.
Don't go in front of the thing.
Bash getting closer to you excitedly.
I think it.
Now that I've been back and training for a little bit, I do have to say that coming back to the gym after a meet is pretty brutal. My legs they felt like they were shot for the first week. I couldn't even walk, like I got sudden onset muscle soreness my first session, and the second week was a lot better, but surprisingly, I feel more beat up right now than during meet prep. I just feel like everything is not used to lifting after just a short, like 1.5 weeks of not lifting. This was our last major hike at Arches, and after that I think we were walked out. We got over 25,000 steps in every day, and I think by the end of this day our feet were done and our shoes were broken and it was time to go.
Down is easier than up. You got gravity on your side.
This trail ended up being a little bit more intense than we thought. It was moderate, but there are definitely parts that are a little bit dangerous, a little bit slippery, and you kind of have to make sure you don't fall.
Sit there and chill for
Coming back from this trip, I actually weighed about less than when I left, and so the last few weeks I've been loosely tracking. I've been trying to make sure I get my protein in, but I've been under eating, and I've been keeping track of my weight, and my weight has kind of reflected that I've been forgetting to eat. I think after periods of dieting, I actually have less of an appetite, and so also my lifestyle, which is drinking tons of water and coffee just because I'm a really thirsty person all the time, and I really like coffee. It's like an appetite suppressant, and my stomach is full of water, so it just doesn't make for easy weight gain or easy remembering to eat because you don't feel hungry. So I'm going to have to be better about tracking my food and making sure I'm eating going forward, because I only have a few months to kind of put back a little bit of muscle that I lost and get a little stronger.
rocks. What is going on here?
We visited the rock shop, which I had wanted to go to when I came a few years ago and didn't have a chance to. Got to take home a few rock souvenirs, so that was really cool. And then we stopped by Canyonlands on the way back to Salt Lake City. There are so many beautiful places in Utah that I still would want to check out, so I'm really glad that Nationals happened to be there this year, and I look forward to more meets that I get to travel to and see more of the US. Thank you so much for watching. This was a little longer than I planned, but I wanted to add in my thoughts about how the meet went along with the meet recap.